The Vadio Show is brought to you by We Care Transport for Kids and Platforms Shoe Boutique.
Boy, you're sure in a hurt. You think you can treat me like dirt and then get away with it, huh? Well, you got another thing coming now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the People's Show, the Vadio Show. And we got a discussion today, man, with everything that we got to deal with, jobs, kids, life. We got a lot on our plate. And a lot of times we may not know it, but some of us may be depressed. So this session is on depression. And we're going to talk about this. I got a couple of people here that's going to help us out, give us some insight on how it feels. I want y'all to let people know your name and, you know, who you are.
I'm Gideon Martin. I'm from Oklahoma, Tulsa, and I suffer from depression.
I'm Latoya Parker, also known as Miss Parker. I'm from right here from Virginia, and there's been plenty of times that I have suffered through some depressive moments in life.
Well, this is where I'm going to start, because I'm sure it's going to be different perspectives from a female and a male perspective, but a lot of times you may go along because so much that you got to do, especially I know, you as well, y'all have a lot of stuff that you do. When did you know that you suffer from depression? Like, when did it hit you?
For me, it was back in, I say about 2007, 2008.
Okay.
I was working in radio and just dealing with a lot of different stuff, a lot of different people, on a path to try to figure out what I wanted to do in life, who I was becoming. Also having a spotlight on me at the time for doing music and doing different things. A lot of people, basically looked up to me for a lot of stuff. A lot of people had a lot of reason to come to me for different things, and sometimes I didn't always have somebody to go to when I needed that type of support. So I realized when there were certain things that I didn't want to do anymore and no longer gave me excitement like it used to. I didn't have the ambition or the drive to do certain things. Is when I started noticing that something wasn't right.
Got you. And we're going to go back on that, because a lot of people, they'll see us, those strong people, and they'll come to us and, we steady giving. But when it's time for us to need someone to go to, no one has an answer. So we're going to go back to that. But when did you know that you were depressed?
It all started real slow. When I started working in school and I was doing good grades and my team was with me, they were motivating, they were positive, and my friend Yvonne, she always stayed on me about get the stuff done, come on, I need you, where you at, don't stab me up. I said, all right. So we got a group of 3 people, me, my friend Nelson, and Yvonne. Sometimes Nelson's friend would come along and we were in math class. Now math for me, it's I can get it because I like helping kids. So as long as they get it, I get it, and that was my therapy. So as the classes kept coming and as my friends departed from me, I found myself all by myself because they were looking up to me because I was the man when it came to math. They got a higher grade than the tutor. So how are you going to get a higher grade than the tutor and I'm the teacher? So long story short, just classes without them and them not being there because they were positive and they knew I was the motivator. So the motivator needed motivating, but if he ain't got nobody motivating him, how he gonna keep? So my fuel ran dry. So I was running on E.
And you couldn't find out how to motivate yourself.
Exactly, and it just kept building up, and then I got to the point where, wow, I'm really depressed. And I didn't know how to do it because it started to affect things that are around me, my family, people, stuff that I do on a regular basis, hobbies, and I was trying to figure it out. And
So what, you just didn't want to do these things no more? You didn't feel like being around people?
I had no more drive.
Got you.
Didn't want to do schoolwork anymore. Didn't want to go to school. I would go, but to just do the schoolwork was just impossible, it seemed.
Right, right. I want to get on that subject of basically you being that strong, because ever since I've known you, you've been in a position of this strong woman. No one would think of you, when they think of you, they don't think of depressed. They think of drive, ambition, and moving. How does that bother you when you are looked at as that strong person? Everybody can come to you, but you know, sometimes it's too much to handle. You're trying to look for everybody, you're pouring in everything else, but nobody's pouring back, you end up empty. How does that work for you?
Well, it became one point where I just had to figure it out, you know, because there's no other option. You can, you know, if you explain to somebody what you're going through, sometimes they misconstrue it as complaining, or you're having a pity party, or woe is me syndrome, and it's like, no, because I've never been this way.
Right.
You've always come. Have I ever said woe is me when you come to me? No.
Right.
I try to give you an answer, and or just encouragement. And so I had to find out how to encourage myself, actually. And my main thing was, you know, spiritual. My spiritual connection. I'm not a religious person. It's two different things of being religious and being spiritual.
You are correct,
I think religious people, you know, there's so many rules. That's why a lot of people stay away from church.
That'll
There's
make
so
you depressed
many
in
rules.
itself, trying to keep up.
Yeah, so many rules with being religious. You can't do this, you can't do that.
You're not
going to
be perfect.
We're human, you know, and I say just because I'm saved, it does not mean that I am sinless. I just sin less. So
Like
it just basically, I grabbed onto my faith and my spirituality, and I just started looking inside of myself, and really it became a point of me stop trying to make everybody else happy. I had to make myself happy. I had to figure out what it was that I needed to do in order to gain my sanity back. You know, and then another thing is just letting go. It's a lot of things that we hold on to that has occurred and has happened. If you're an overachiever, if you're somebody that's going after your dreams, you know, it gets very, very hard because you run into setbacks and failures and disagreements. And when those things happen, it's like a brick on, you know, every time it's another brick on your shoulder, it's another brick. So you're dealing with that, and then you just have to look internally. You have to look internally and see, you know, what am I missing? You know, what have I taken away from myself that probably used to bring me joy or whatever. And just getting back to you.
Right.
You know, it's
and
just
you.
really,
it's not things. A lot of people think things make you happy, but it's you and a purpose, finding a purpose for yourself.
Absolutely. You know, I know in this world, especially if you are overachiever, you're going for a certain dream, you're going to be scrutinized for a lot of things. A lot of people, when they don't have that type of drive, when they don't have that ambition that you have, you immediately become a target. You know, and
because they're looking for what's wrong with you.
Absolutely. You become a target for a parasite that's going to basically attach themselves to you and emotionally drain you. You know, that's the aim of the enemy, is to deplete you of that energy.
And a lot of people don't even know they're being used by them.
Absolutely, is to deplete you of that energy so you can't no longer go on. So a lot of my depression, I realized, came from somebody else's issue that dumped all their stuff on me and was no longer around in sight.
Right.
For me, you know, or, you know, was going to basically take what I had given them, use it for themselves, and push me to the side and pretend like that was their information the whole time.
Man, that made me depressed and mad at the same time now.
And so I just really had to just take some time for Toya and understand, you know, forget all the hard body ENT, and Miss Parker, all of that, all the glitz and glamour, some of the things that people have known me to be, and get right strictly back to myself.
I can understand
that. And that was the main thing that drove me. And then once I realized, oh, you know, I am, you know.
Yeah, been here the whole time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a lot of distractions. Let me ask you this, man, because we had talked a little earlier. And I'll ask you, you can answer this as well, Toya. Has there been a point to where things had gotten so bad to where you just suicide came into mind?
Yes, it was about 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Recently, my neighbor, she had this machine where I can go all the way back on my head, and my blood can rush toward my head and my body, and then for so much time come back, and then be able to let it blood flow through my body.
Right, right.
So I was already feeling down that day. My mind was everywhere else, unstable, and I was going back to my door, and I was just saying, I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. I don't know what to do. I got this to do. I got that to do. I can't do the school stuff no more. I can't force myself to want to learn it anymore. Not that I don't want to learn, but the willpower is gone.
Right.
It's not so much completing the mission. It's just simply having the willpower to complete
do,
the mission.
period. Anything,
because
period.
I got to a point, whether I'm up, whether I'm down, whether it's finances, whether it's family, I have to keep it up. I have to keep going. I have to. The concept is simply the idea of keeping up with it by I have to, whether you're rich and have it and you done did all of this, but you have to keep it up.
Right.
You still have to work. And my mind was, no matter what happens to me, I'm going to always feel like this. So I kept falling deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And I saw the walls coming in, and I understand why the comedian killed himself, because it was not about things that were on the outside. It was that it wasn't fueling anything on the inside. The money was there, the material, family were around. He was around a lot of people. He laughed, he giggled, but at the end of the day, that ran out.
Yeah.
And as it ran out of helping people, that ran out, and helping other people, that ran out, and everything else ran out over and over and over. It began to get to him, and he said, I can't take it no more, because there was nothing feeling the inside of. The inside is what keep you going to produce the outside. Then if nothing's fueling the inside, how can the outside go on?
I got you.
So he said to himself, this is a spiritual thing, not and a supernatural thing, not so much a natural thing, because at the end of the day, if your inside, your spirit man isn't fed, that simply means there's nothing on the outside that you can do. So you're deteriorating from the inside out.
Because your spirit man's just riding around.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to seek help? Like, have you looked for outside help, or you just try to figure it out for yourself?
I got pride issues. I personally don't like asking people for help. I don't beg, borrow, or ask nobody for anything.
I can understand that.
I grew up in a sense where I was hurt from a lot of people, so I really stay to myself.
Gotcha.
I got confidence issues, even though I know I need help. I won't ask you because I'm really ashamed that you're gonna say this and say that about me. So I dealt with what people say and what people think. And it's a mental thing.
It is, I can understand, but let me tell you this. It's like I was saying earlier, it's almost like that dirty room. And you've been looking at this room for a long time, but you don't know where to clean up at.
Right.
Sometimes you can get the right person from the outside to come in and say, oh man, all you gotta do is clean up over here first. You can clean up over there, and then, and get you started. And then you'll find it easier to get that room together. So sometimes we do need help. We were put here for each other. Contrary to what they say on TV, everybody kind of selfish and things like that, we were put here for each other.
That's right.
So if you have a person who's been put in a position as a doctor or a therapist to be able to talk to you and help you kind of weed those things out, that don't mean you're crazy. That don't mean that you're lazy. That just mean, I've come as far as I can on my own. I need somebody else to kind of help me. That's almost like those people that you used to hang out with at school.
Right.
They were that help for you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They were that piece of you that you needed to kind of go on that confidence. Sometimes you need an outside force to come in and give you that confidence, help you with a little organization, and you move forward. That's what teams are about. You know what I mean? We can't play all positions. Some things that I'm not strong at, this person can be helpful. So I think that at the end of the day, you've come to a point to where maybe you've come as far as you can on your own for now, but you need someone on the outside to come and kind of get you some organization with this thing. It's nothing to be prideful about, you know what I mean? Because I'd like to see you, get some help. On the next section of this episode, we're going to have a therapist, and I'm going to get you the number and everything so you can speak to her. It's not a pride issue, man. It's a you issue. You get yourself together, you'll feel much better about this thing. But that's my opinion. I'm no professional. I just talk a lot. But Miss Toya, I want to ask you, because it's a lot of women out there and men that don't understand what y'all got to go through. Just the fact of being a woman can be stressful. Because we rough now. We can be rough. And you're a woman in business. Please elaborate on the things under being a woman that can stress you and get you in a depressed situation, because you got a lot to fight against.
Yes. Number one, first of all, as a woman, I don't have any children, but I have godchildren. I have people that look to me as a mother figure. Number one, when you're a woman, we have to look good. That's number one. I'm talking about from head to toe.
Because women looking at you.
As soon as you walk in the door, trust me, you're gonna get physically raped by men and women. From head to toe, you're gonna see.
She thinks she cute. She got on the shoes.
So that we gotta look good. Number two, we gotta make sure that all our things are intact. Nothing is hanging out. You know, when I say nothing is hanging out, meaning we got every I has to be dotted, every T has to be crossed.
Because they detail.
Because we are scrutinized from the tops. Then we can be ambitious, but not too ambitious. So we don't want, our dreams and aspirations must not exceed those of a man. Sometimes we're not supposed, it's a certain, wall we're to climb, but we can't go too over across the wall. So, that's the thing. And then also, I have a hard time with being taken serious sometimes in business, sometimes in doing business with a man. He only has his mind on one thing, regardless of how good my presentation was, how good the numbers add up, the profit, the return on the investment. None of that makes a difference. You know what I mean? Really, he's just trying to see if I'm weak, that's gonna allow him to let him in my space.
And it's not all of us, but I know that it's a good number, Yeah,
it is. And it gets frustrating sometimes because, that plays a big part in my climbing my ladder to success. Because sometimes you feel like it's a person that's holding you back. Not necessarily yourself. Some people, I've been in situations, people have known, just recently running the mayoral campaign and doing different stuff like that. When you're dealing with men that are in positions of power, sometimes it is a battle with the ego when it comes down to men and women.
Yeah, that's true.
When you stand up for yourself in a situation like that, you're looked at as, oh, your ego is too much.
Right.
When you're told, when you're going to speak your opinion and what you believe in, something that is proven, is a proven fact. If sometimes as a woman, if we're going against a man and his opinion, we're automatically shut down from that, and don't find out it was the right opinion till everything is already said and done. And then you're still not getting credit for, what you brought to the table.
Don't you touch that dial. We'll be back with more of the People's Show, the Vadio Show.
Black folk don't commit suicide. I was just talking about this. I actually have a personal experience in my family. One of my very close family members, when I was a teenager, had a suicide attempt. The person overdosed on pills. We all went to the hospital. It was very traumatic. It was horrible. And then we came home and we never mentioned it ever again. To this day, never mentioned it, never talked about it, never got counseling.
A message from one of our proud sponsors.
We Care Transport for Kids offers parents a safe, community-trusted, and reliable children's transportation service. We Care transports kids to and from school and on to other after-school activities such as aftercare, tutoring lessons, sports, and other enrichment programs. We also have wheelchair vans for transporting children with special needs. So if you're in need of a reliable and affordable door-to-door service, give us a call. We Care is not just a name, it's what we do.
A message from one of our proud sponsors. A message from one of our proud sponsors.
There is this pervasive myth of, strong Black people and strong Black women that sounds on the outside like it's something positive, but it's actually extremely damaging. Because what you do when you say, oh, well, all Black women are strong or all Black men are strong or whatever it is that you dehumanize, you take away the humanity of the person, and it can have, a whole population of people feeling like they don't have a right to their pain. And I think that it's time for us to drop that for ourselves, because it hurts. And, all of that anger that we see is hurt. The anger is pain, and it comes out in different ways.
What people say and what people think, and it's a mental thing.
It is, I can understand, but let me tell you this. It's like I was saying earlier, it's almost like that dirty room. And you've been looking at this room for a long time, but you don't know where to clean up at.
Right.
Sometimes you can get the right person from the outside to come in and say, oh man, all you gotta do is clean up over here first. You can clean up over there, and then, and get you started. And then you'll find it easier to get that room together. So sometimes we do need help. We were put here for each other. Contrary to what they say on TV, everybody kind of selfish and things like that, we were put here for each other.
That's right.
So if you have a person who's been put in a position as a doctor or a therapist to be able to talk to you and help you kind of weed those things out, that don't mean you're crazy. That don't mean that you're lazy. That just mean, I've come as far as I can on my own. I need somebody else to kind of help me. That's almost like those people that you used to hang out with at school.
Right.
They were that help for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were that piece of you that you needed to kind of go on that confidence. Sometimes you need an outside force to come in and give you that confidence, help you with a little organization, and you move forward. That's what teams are about. You know what I mean? We can't play all positions. Some things that I'm not strong at, this person can be helpful. So I think that at the end of the day, you've come to a point to where maybe you've come as far as you can on your own for now, but you need someone on the outside to come and kind of get you some organization with this thing. And it's nothing to be prideful about. You know what I mean? Because I'd like to see you, get some help. On the next section of this episode, we're going to have a therapist, and I'm going to get you the number and everything so you can speak to her. It's not a pride issue, man. It's a you issue. You get yourself together, you'll feel much better about this thing. But that's my opinion. I'm no professional. I just talk a lot. But Miss Toya, I want to ask you, because it's a lot of women out there and men that don't understand what y'all got to go through. Just the fact of being a woman can be stressful.
Yes,
because we rough now. We can be rough. And you're a woman in business. Please elaborate on the things under being a woman that can stress you and get you in a depressed situation, because you got a lot to fight against.
Yes. Number one, first of all, as a woman, I don't have any children, but I have godchildren. I have people that look to me as a mother figure. Number one, when you're a woman, we have to look good. That's number one. I'm talking about from head to toe.
Because women looking at you.
As soon as you walk in the door, trust me, you're going to get physically raped by men and women. From head to toe, you're going to see.
She thinks she cute. She got on the shoes.
So that we got to look good. Number two, we got to make sure that all our things are intact. Nothing is hanging out. When I say nothing is hanging out, meaning we got every I has to be dotted, every T has to be crossed.
Because they detail.
Because we are scrutinized from the tops. Then we can be ambitious, but not too ambitious. So we don't want, our dreams and aspiration must not exceed those of a man. Sometimes we're not supposed to. It's a certain, wall we're to climb, but we can't go too over across the wall.
Right.
So that's the thing. And then also, I have a hard time with being taken serious sometimes in business, sometimes in doing business with the man. He only has his mind on one thing, regardless of how good my presentation was, how good the numbers add up, the profit, the return on the investment. None of that makes a difference. You know what I mean? Really, he's just trying to see if I'm weak, that's going to allow him to let him in my space.
And it's not all of us, but I know that it's a good number,
Yeah, it is. And it gets frustrating sometimes because, that plays a big part in my climbing my ladder to success.
Right.
Because sometimes you feel like it's a person that's holding you back. Not necessarily yourself. Some people, I've been in situations, people have known, just recently running the mayor, campaign and doing different stuff like that. When you're dealing with men that are in positions of power, sometimes it is a battle with the ego when it comes down to men and women.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when you stand up for yourself in a situation like that, you're looked at as, oh, your ego is too much for you. When you're told, when you're going to speak your opinion and what you believe in, something that you know is proven, is a proven fact. If sometimes as a woman, if we're going against a man and his opinion, you know, we're automatically shut down from that, you know, and don't find out it was the right opinion till everything is already said and done. And then you're still not getting credit for, you know, what you brought to the table. So it plays a big part in just sexism. You know, racism is something that is very still much alive, but sexism is also.
And y'all got to deal with both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, from every spectrum of it, you know, and so I want to make it aware sometimes that, you know, being extremely hard on women, you know, to be all around in every angle. You got to be sexy, you gotta be, but you got to be conservative, but you got to be, you know,
it's a lot to think about,
you know what I'm saying? It's a lot. It's a lot. And then
if you throw kids in the mix,
absolutely,
you know what I mean?
You know, it's a lot of things that you can't do. You know, I don't knock anybody for what they do. I just always want everybody to be respectful in doing it and respecting the next person. It's all about respect. You know, it's all about respect, because if you're not respecting each other's boundaries and different things, it poses a problem. And then if I speak up on how you disrespected me, then I become hard to work with.
Or angry black woman.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so it's a lot of things that, for me, and that goes back on to what you were saying, is about a pride issue. One thing I try to explain to people about depression, or just needing to stop oppressing everything that you're going through, because the more you keep oppressing it and putting it down, you're doing nothing but putting layers and layers and layers on top of yourself. One thing I say, if you're a basketball player, if you're in sports, so you fall, you break your ACL, you break your ankle, what are they going to tell you to do? You need to go see a therapist to get that muscle back. Not keep playing, but you got to get that muscle back in shape. Where your brain and your heart both are muscles. They're both organs. That's why it's on an organ. They ask you, are you an organ donor? Because it's something you can give to somebody. You have to massage that muscle. That's what a shrink is. It actually shrinks your brain, because if you think about it, we got so much stuff going on in our head. Work, you know, family, the job, you know, whatever. That's all of this stuff built up in your head. It needs to be shrunk.
You need to streamline them thoughts.
It needs to be shrunk down, and that's all that it really is. When it comes to just not knowing, you know, sometimes a lot of people don't know how to compartmentalize. And I'm a big fan of compartmentalize, meaning if I'm going through a situation and something else arises up, I need to know how to put that away for a minute, but not necessarily oppressing it, but putting it away for a minute and then coming back and addressing it. You know, you have to be able to address all the things that are going on in your head. You know,
keep
because
sweeping it under the rug before you know
because then you let room for the enemy to come in and penetrate all that stuff that's going on in your head and say, oh, this is, you know, you got to watch this, or you got to watch how they think about you. You know, it's just a lot of things, and people play a big part. So, you know, I feel like if we stop being so hard on ourselves, then we're not going to be as hard on everybody else. You know, and the only way I feel like you can just gain some type of balance, you know, in who you are, is basically seeking help, taking the time, doing the work. Ayanna Van Zandt, she always is a big fan of doing your work. You have to do your work. You have to, when you go get your car fixed, you know, he does the diagnosis, he tell you what's the problem, and then he does the work to fix it. It's the same thing. You know, you just got to figure out what's going on in your spirit. Like you say, your spirit, man, your mind, it all has to line up. That's why they say mind, body, and soul. You know, it all just needs to line up in one. You can get it lined up in one, you know, direction. You'll start finding peace. And that's what it's all about, peace.
Finding peace.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, y'all, I really appreciate y'all coming. Is there anything else y'all want to put out? Anything else you want to give to the people on this subject, being that you all have gone through it? Anything else?
Time is all you have. 24 hours in one day. It's not power. It's not strength. It's time. And what you do at that time depends on the fixable mistakes and unfixable mistakes that you make. Be confident, be strong, be motivated, and set a goal for yourself. And after that goal, set another goal. Never stop setting goals, because it orders your steps to your success. And as you get to your success, you can look back and say, you know what, I'm proud of myself, and I believe that someone else can see me and do the same.
Awesome. You told it.
With me, I just said don't be afraid to be different. You know, different is what makes us unique. And I think it's a lot of pressure on society for you to be like somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main pressure as
Yes.
people that we have. You know, we're always comparing, or most people are always comparing themselves to each other. And that's where a lot of your problems are going to come at, because if I'm comparing you to me and if I'm comparing myself to you and I'm totally different than you, then I'm never going to meet that mark that I feel I need to be great. So look inside yourself and dare to be. I dare you to actually be different and figure it out. Everything that has ever happened to you in the past, you know, and to learn from it, take the negative and turn it into a positive. And I think from there, as long as you're not worried about what other people think of you, you'll get where you're trying to go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to pay a few bills. We'll see y'all after the commercial break.
And here's a message from one of our proud sponsors.
All right, everybody, we really look forward to hearing from you. Only a few slots left, so get in contact with us through social networking or email. However you got to do it, get in contact, because this won't be lasting long. These spots will go fast. So come on and take this ride with us, and let's show this community exactly what we can do.
It's maybe not something as simple as sitting in a room and putting a gun to their head, but you know, when you drink yourself to death knowing exactly that's what you're doing, when you are continually doing something that you know is going to kill you, and you, out of depression, out of I can't take it anymore, just keep doing it until that decision is taken away from you, to me, is suicide.
A message from one of our proud sponsors.
I need it, I want it, I gotta have it. Platform, high-class shoes at a low cost.
Your shoe experience awaits. Platform Shoe Boutique and the Gentleman's Closet is your place for quality, high fashion, and trendy shoes. Located at 9622 Warwick Boulevard in the Hilton Shopping Center in Newport News. Check us out at platformsboutique.net. Platforms is your holiday VIP spot, specializing in VIP parties and private showings. We closed the boutique down just for you. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Shop online at our online store, platformsboutique.net.
Wardrobe provided by Upscale Men's Fashion.
One way to read it, and I'm not sure if it's true, but one way is that Black women are literally so committed to being the mule of the world. Like there's such a requirement for us to stay and be present for everybody else. And it feels to me like part of the kind of overtly self-sacrificial ways in which Black women behave.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the People Show, the Vadio Show. And we're talking about depression and suicide today. And I know in the last segment we had talked about basically the symptoms of, we talked to a couple people that were going through it or have went through it. But I want to get to another side of this subject, all right? And I got Miss Darla Grease here to help kind of guide me through somewhat on the opposite side of depression. And if you could just let us know, you know, what happened with your situation.
Well, with my situation, I had a twin sister, Kelly, and unfortunately she passed away just within the last few years. In 2010, she took her own life. And for years she had struggled with depression, prescription drug addiction, and she went through a lot, and she couldn't deal.
Got you.
any longer, and she made the decision to take her own life.
Well, let me ask you this. Was there ever a time that you noticed something was wrong? Like, did you see something from your side?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the lawsuit and with the medications Kelly was on.
No.
Okay. Kelly suffered from prescription drug abuse for a long, long time.
Okay.
And over time, the chemicals worsened her depression
Got you.
and heightened the symptoms that she had already had on a small scale.
Mm-hmm.
So it was tough to watch, and watching Kelly and going through it with her really educated me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important because I was one of those folks who years ago stayed away from that subject and
Gotcha.
didn't want to talk about depression or mental illness. It's uncomfortable.
Right, yeah, it is.
But now I feel the opposite. We need to talk about it
Yeah.
because it's a real thing, and
It's
people,
very real.
yeah, and people are taking their lives, and it seems to be more frequent.
It has become more frequent, and not just in adults, but in children as well.
Sure.
You know, the bullying and cyberbullying and things like that. And being that it's being publicized so much as well, it's it's crazy, but it becomes an option.
Sure.
You know, when things get too tough. But you know, I just would like the people to know that giving up is never, you know, the best option to take. You know, because
Sure.
we have the opportunity, as long as we're breathing,
Right.
to be able to make changes, to be able to find new things in life and to do better. But if you give up, you may stop short of your blessing. You
Sure.
know? So I mean, how did you deal with? Did you ever think it would have gone that far as to suicide?
Truthfully, yes. I had hoped that it didn't, but I understood why it did.
I got you.
Kelly suffered tremendously. She was in a lot of pain, and that's why people ask me all the time, well, you must be angry. You must be furious. And I'm not, because I saw firsthand her struggles on such a personal level, and I stood next to her while she suffered, and I understood why she couldn't do that any longer. I wish she didn't make that decision, and I wished hindsight I would have maybe tried harder to find maybe a better facility where I can get Kelly into.
Did she ever get into one?
Over the years,
Okay.
she went in and out of hospitals.
Okay.
But unfortunately, which is another huge issue, is these facilities or these places, long-term facilities, aren't affordable.
I got
They're
you.
just
I've
not
heard that as
affordable.
well. Yeah.
And unless you have thousands and thousands, and I'm talking at least probably 10 or more,
Wow.
just for a 30-day stay, people don't have that option. That's what's so tragic.
Yeah.
And it makes me really, really sad.
Because some people think it's as simple as, hey, well, just go get some help. Go talk to some people.
It's
But-
not. It's
Wow.
not. It's just not that simple, and it's not that easy. And you know, you can get into these facilities for maybe 3 or 4 days, enough to stabilize them.
Yeah.
But to really get to the core root of the issues,
You got to spend
3 or
some
4,
money.
yeah. And you need to spend some time, and
We gotta
3 or 4
figure out a way to
days.
fix
We
this
do.
problem, man.
We do.
Because, I mean, we find that not only in this aspect, but just when it comes to the medical side of things in general, the things that we need major help for, you know, you don't really have the funds to be able to get the proper help. So, you know, the person just kind of drifts further and further into, you know, the bad side of things. So I'm gonna have to look on that on the off end and see if we can find some solutions for that, because I wasn't unaware of how expensive it was
Oh, sure.
to get help. Because that's the first thing everybody says, hey, just go get some help.
Not that
And
simple.
it's not that simple.
It's not that simple. And even if you have great insurance,
Right.
these long-term facilities, most of them are self-pay. So that really doesn't help you, in a sense.
So you can't use your insurance.
Very few
Insurances.
facilities, and that's only a small portion
Right.
that they'll pay.
Wow.
There was a day where Kelly and I sat in my living room for hours, and I just flipped through the phone book for local facilities, and then I went online just trying to find places anywhere in the U.S.
Right.
And I made phone call after phone call after phone call, and we just couldn't afford to send her to a facility that was a 30-day plus facility. We just couldn't do it, and it's tragic.
Yeah, it's
it
very
really is tragic, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, we definitely have to do our research and try to find something or talk to somebody that can make some changes.
Especially,
But,
you know, locally, I'm sorry.
No.
We have so many veterans here.
True.
We have so many
PSD
veterans
and things
here.
like that, yes.
Sure, and how do we as a community step up?
That's
these
true.
are individuals that went to Iraq, Afghanistan 3 or 4 times.
Right.
They're coming back. They have problems.
And that's my thing. And, you know, I can be a bit of a Huey Newton on a lot of things, but from the government standpoint, these are the people that went out there, fought, lost limbs, went through some major traumatic situations.
Sure.
They should be the first to be taken care of, but they're still looking for help. So who are you trying to help us? Or are you just saying we're on our own? You know what I mean? Or is the money just in the medicine? If we come up with the money, you know, I don't. It doesn't seem like anyone's trying to actually help.
Right.
You know, so we're gonna work on that on the offside of things. You know, I'm one man, but I'm gonna see what I can do, because that is very tragic.
Yeah.
And then with the PSD, this being an area so full of military people, there has to be an answer.
I agree.
And a solution.
Yeah.
But the next thing I'm gonna ask you, and then I'll get out your hair. I know you wrote a book. You know, I'm gonna ask the twofold question.
Okay.
If there's anything that you could say to someone on your end of depression and suicide, what would you say to them? And also, if you could just read us an excerpt from your book, tell people where to find it and where to get in touch with you.
Sure. I'll read the excerpt first. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. I have to put my glasses on. So this is chapter 41, and it's called Kelly's Place.
Okay.
And I'll read the first paragraph. 16 years ago, I was ignorant to mental illness and addiction, but witnessing Kelly's torment and struggle to survive opened my eyes to a world that most only read about or watch in movies. I have gained an even greater empathy for anyone who struggles with depression, mental illness, and/or addiction, but still, there's a stigma attached to those words that's unjust and offensive. My twin sister was just one of many patients that some might mock. As compassionate human beings, we must remember just as cancer and diabetes are both diseases, so are mental illnesses and addiction. And you know, and it's 15 years ago, I was one of those individuals, you know, and I'm not now. And, you know, and I suffer from a level of depression.
Was it due to that situation?
No, I think my depression was on a much lesser scale.
Okay.
But since losing Kelly, it's been a struggle.
I can understand.
Every day's a struggle. Some days are better than others. But having the book and telling Kelly's story.
I'm sure that was a good way to get some of the pressure off you.
Sure. And I think, you know, I get personal messages all the time. And the book has received amazing reviews.
Awesome.
And so that helps me come to terms a little bit. And
the fact you're helping other people
Sure.
that could be in that situation.
Sure.
You know, I think that that's very helpful for someone, and that should be, you know, give you a good level of gratitude to know that you're making a difference. You didn't just let the situation happen to you, and you know, hey, it just happened to me. You moved on. You actually reached back for other people to help others in this situation, and I think that's very commendable.
Oh, well, thank you.
In itself. And, you know, I wish more people would do that, you know?
I think
we
so,
can be
too.
a blessing through our pain and our issues. You can kind of help other people dodge those potholes,
Right.
you know? But what would you say to anyone in your situation?
In my situation, allow yourself to feel what emotions you need to feel. In my situation, I stayed very, very busy after Kelly's death. I went in to a lawsuit, which took up a good chunk of time, a couple of years, settled the lawsuit, and then I went on to write the book.
Right.
I'm very good at doing anything but feeling.
I got you. Keep yourself busy. Just
Keep myself as busy as I can, but my advice is don't do that. Allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, work through it, know that it's normal, and accept it. It's part of the process. And in my situation, I've surrendered to the fact that I'll never be the same.
Yeah.
Kelly's death changed me, and that's the situation I'm dealt with. She's not here any longer, but I'm here as her voice, and whatever I can offer, even if it's just a small smidge, that's what I'm here to do.
Definitely. And we appreciate you coming on and sharing
thank you.
that with you. And letting everybody know where to find your book, you know.
Sure. The book is entitled Sister Surrendered. It's available at Amazon.com.
Okay.
It's available in both the print copy and the ebook.
Okay.
And I am very accessible via Facebook.
Okay.
If anybody out there is suffering and you need to reach out to someone, reach out to me.
And what's your Facebook information?
Darla Grease. I'm the only one out there.
Okay.
Just find me. Or I have a website for my acting. It's darlagrease.com. You can send me a personal message through there as well.
Awesome. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I thank you all for viewing. And this is the Vadio Show, talking about depression and suicide. And I hope y'all got something from this, all right? Check us out online, and we'll see you next episode.
I am a lighthouse, a beacon of hope, change, a friend, taking action for brighter tomorrows. I am a guiding light, reaching out to those in need. Those in a battle against depression. I am a voice for over 36,000 U.S. lives cut short by suicide each year. That's one life every 14 minutes that could have been saved. Depression is treatable. Suicide is not. I am the solution. Through education and prevention, I can save lives, friends, people like you and me from suffering. I am a lighthouse. Light the way. Become a lighthouse and help us save lives in the Virginia Beach community. To learn how, visit ineedalighthouse.org or like us on Facebook. I Need a Lighthouse is a Virginia Beach nonprofit.
If you get suicidal, which is human, and you add on top of that your community or society telling you black folk don't do that, then you have a double dislocation. Well, I'm even more of a loser because I don't want to be alive as a human being, and I'm violating the rules of blackness, and you're just pushing further away from being able to get the help and to have the perspective that you need to try to get back on track.
When you look at the suicide rates, it is white men followed by black men, followed by white women, followed by the trend line for black women is so low that you could easily miss them on the chart. Like it's extraordinarily low.